Hi, welcome back to Miss Gwen's art class. This week we've been talking about the abstract artist Vasily Kandinsky, and today we're going to make our own artwork inspired by his paintings of squares with concentric circles. So you can see this one is really bright, really filled in. It's so beautiful. You guys earlier in the week made collages of cutout shapes, circles, triangles, even flowers or patterned paper to make squares. And now we are going to be coloring our own circles. So he had many squares with the circles inside. They're concentric. There's one and then one a little bigger and then a little bigger, 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 almost to the edges of the square. So we're going to make our own artwork inspired by his. So what you need today is a piece of paper. It can be any size. I have a regular size writing paper. If you have something bigger, that's great. This is what I'm going to use because it's what most people have. And we really don't need a pencil today unless that's all you got, and then you can make your concentric circles using a pencil. And I'm not going to outline anything today. And then for the color, use what you have. Crayons, colored pencils, markers, whatever you have. If you have paint and you want to make this with paint, that would be great. You can make the effect that we did the other day, especially on the outside edge of your circle, using the washable markers and some water. Okay, so we're going to start first by folding our paper so that we will have the squares to contain our concentric circles. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold my paper in half the best I can, and then fold that one more time. So I now have one little folded up square. I open it up, and like we did when we made our hands inspired by Andy Warhol, we have 4 sections. So each of these squares will contain a set of concentric circles. So you're going to do the coloring 4 times. So the way you're going to start, you can start with the colors that you have. Maybe I'll do one with each different material. So I'll start one with crayons, with red, nice bright red. And I'm going to make a circle on the inside of this square. And I'm going to color it in. Doesn't have to be a perfect square. If you look at Kandinsky's, they are not perfect. Some are more ovally, some have more than one color in a circle. This one kind of looks like an egg shape. He did not trace a bowl or a cup. He just made his circles by hand, and he wasn't worried about whether they were perfect. So we're not going to worry either. Okay, I'm going to color it in the best that I can. And that's the center of my first circle. So then I'm going to take another color. I used a warm red, so I'm going to look for some contrast with a nice cool blue. I'm going to make a circle around my first circle. My first circle will be approximately close to the middle of my next circle. And then this one, I will also color. Then I'm going to keep going until I get close to the edge of this first square. Okay, so I've colored my circles. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm coloring in the background. So I wanted to show you guys a little trick for staying inside your square. If I fold along the edges that I had already made, then I won't go out of my square, and I can color a little easily. And I can even put a piece of paper if I want to go off the edges to make sure I really fill my square with as much color as I can. And you'll see on one side my circles went right up to the edge so I won't have to color the background all the way on that side. Okay, so now I'm going all the way to the edges. And by folding it, it's a nice little trick to keep your squares separate. Okay, so see my circle went up to the edge and that's fine. Okay, so now if I unfold it, I've gone nicely all the way to the edge of my first square. So if you're using crayons, keep going with crayons. I thought I would use a few different materials depending on what you guys have at home. So I have my colored pencils. I'm gonna make my next one with colored pencils. I'm gonna start. So same idea. I'm starting with a circle in the middle. And I'm going to color it in. And I'm going to keep going until I fill in the background of my square. Okay, so I've colored in my next square, including the background, with colored pencils. So I have crayons and colored pencils. This first one I alternated warm and cool colors. This one I tried using only cool colors. All right, so the next square, I'm gonna use markers. We're trying all the different things that I have in my house to color with. So I remember some of mine dried out, so these are the colors I have, so these are the colors I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna start, I think, with a kind of neutral gray circle in the middle, and this time I'm going to color the shapes in all the way with the marker. Okay, because the next square we'll do a little differently with the markers. Okay, so I'm going to color all of my circles in and my background. Okay, so as you can see, I finished coloring in the circles that I made with my markers. I made the background black to really make those warm colors pop. You can see how Kandinsky also used the contrast of dark colors against lighter colors. Okay, so now for my last one, again, you can use crayon, colored pencils, markers, anything you want. I'm going to use the markers to try to make the effect that we made with adding water at the end. So I'm going to color them a little differently. I'm going to start my middle one, and then I'm going to only color around about halfway and leave the center white. So whatever colors I have. So I'm going to draw the outline of the circle. If you need to get someone to help you with this, as always, that's fine. You also, if you don't have washable markers, you don't need to do it this way. I'm just using 4 different materials or techniques to give you guys choices for what you think looks interesting and for what you have in your house. Okay, so I'm leaving a pretty big white space. And then I'm going to make another circle around, and again color it in maybe halfway, maybe not even all the way halfway. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size all the way around, the same amount that you're coloring. This is your abstract art. It's how you want it to be. Okay, maybe I'll make one more circle around. Use the pink. You can color as carefully as you want. Again, I'm going a little quicker just because I don't want the lesson to go too long. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do the background in a similar way. So I'm going to fold it again and put it over my scrap paper. It's got a rip in it, some other marker. It's perfect for scrap paper. And then I'm going to color the edges the best that I can. You could fill in the whole background if you want to, or do it like mine. So I'm just going around the edges of my square. It's really a rectangle, but it's okay. And a bit more over here. Okay. So could just leave it like that. It looks great, but I'm going to use a little bit of water. So I'm just going to use my finger. I said if you had a paintbrush, great. You could use a Q-tip, a little piece of tissue, paper towel. I'm just going to use some water. And I'm going to dip my finger in the water. Doesn't need to be dripping. You can shake off the drops. And then I'm going to go on the middle one. It's just right in the middle. And just by touching the blue, it spreads the blue out. Then I'm going to rinse that off. If my finger gets a little color, it's okay. I'm going to wash it at the very end. And then I can use the orange, and I'm hoping that my colors will mix a little bit. See how the blue is kind of drawing out, really giving it a great look. And my purple, if I start from the purple and go towards the orange, I'll get more purple than orange, but I'm still going to get both colors in here. So it's great, we get to mix them. If you want, you can think ahead about the colors that you have next to each other and how they're going to look mixed. But this is abstract. We're just kind of doing what we feel. Okay, and then my last pink circle. I think my pink and purple will really mix nicely. Kind of looks like if you make tie-dye, if you've ever done that or seen that. So I'm going all the way around. I'm trying not to get my paper too wet, so I'm really shaking my finger off. And I do have the paper underneath to protect my surface. All right, so I'm done with my circles. Next is my square. That red looks great. So I'm pulling it out from the colored edge towards the white. And I'm definitely going over the pink a little because I like how that looks. Ooh, I love how it's making these sort of cloudy colors here. And you can really see how I have the markers here look so bright and vibrant, really bold. And then when I'm using this effect here, they look more muted, lighter. Okay, I'm almost done going all the way around. If you feel like you need to go back anywhere and touch it up, you can. I think mine's done. And I think this one looks a lot like some of the ways that Kandinsky had his colors mixing, like the green and the orange here in the middle, and the yellow going out to the purple, and this one especially also. So I think any of these really highlight the ways that our artwork can look like Kandinsky's, but we're just inspired by him and making our own. So you can use any materials that you have. I used 4 different techniques just because I wanted to show them. I like the way it looks using all of these, but you can use just one way of coloring if you want to. All right, so our project is done. Bye.